All right, happy New Year's Eve, everybody. I hope you're excited because we are going to move on to question two today. Um, but it's New Year's Eve. So I am curious. I'm just going to make sure you guys can see me, that I'm live, that everybody can hear me. Yep. Okay, we are good. Um, a little bit later than I wanted to get on live this morning, but I am here. One of the habits that I am working on for the new year is getting to bed earlier. How many of you guys are night owls versus morning people? So I've always been a night owl, but it's becoming excessive and it's not necessarily a productive night owl. So one of my New Year's resolutions is to force myself to get to bed early because it is, I think, affecting my health in a negative way. And so one of the question that we're going to work on today is going to be a little bit about that, about the why behind it. Okay. But I would love to hear if you're watching or if you're watching the replay, what are you doing for New Year's? What is everybody doing? I feel like there's a lot of pressure to make New Year's this incredible night. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I also realize as I'm getting older, I don't know that I really want to be around a lot of crowds the way I used to when I was young. So I'm curious how other people feel, what you guys are doing for New Year's. How do you want to celebrate? But you guys know my goal, my commitment is to show up for you for 20 days, going through the 20 questions to reinvent my life, because this is the perfect time of year to do this. It's the perfect time of year to evaluate where am I and where do I want to be and how am I going to get there, right? So we started yesterday with talking about that most people literally spend more time planning their summer vacations than they do planning their life. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to drop the link for this. You can grab this for free. I'm going to put this in the comments for you. So if you want all 20 questions, they're available for you. You can get them. Let me go ahead and copy that. But I'll be showing up every day, going through one of the questions and doing a little bit more of like a deep dive into that question. So let me grab your 20 questions here. And if you're watching this replay someplace else and you need it, it's in the notes. So you should be able to get those. Okay. Um, so today's question, so we'll kind of recap from yesterday. So yesterday we started with and I'll go and I'll actually read it for you. What aspects of my current self do I want to change or improve? And we kind of really focused on the improve part because it's not so much about changing who we are, it's about improving and growing into the best version of ourselves. So I really always want to bring us back to that. I think this time of year we can start to feel like I need to change everything about myself. And it's really no, let's just take a step closer to the version of you that really is your best version, the one that's really deep, deep down in here that just kind of got piled a bunch of stuff on that forgets it's there sometimes, right? My favorite Disney movie is Moana, because I love Moana 1, not Moana 2, but I love that it's the idea that that heart is there. We just sometimes life makes us forget who we are and forget who you were truly designed and destined and determined to be. So question number two today, this is what we're going to focus on. What is the driving forces behind my desire for reinvention? What are the driving forces behind my desire to reinvent myself? And so I want you to think about that in the terms of what is the why? Simon Sinek talks about this all the time. You start with the why. Why? So yesterday we said these are the things that I would like to change. These are the things that I would like to improve. And so the question today is why? Why are these things important? And so this very much gets into the concept of, and there's a TED talk about this, that if we fell in love with the future version of ourselves, if we loved, future Tara, future Rachel, future Jessica, future, Melissa, we loved that person the way we love our kids, right? Like if I love future Tara as much as I love current Emily, my daughter, I would want what's best for her. I would want her to have a good life. I would want her to have money. I would want her to be financially prosperous. I would want her to have choices to create the life that she wants because, one of my mentors always say, money does not make you happy, but money gives you choices and choices make us happy, right? I would want my future Tara to be healthy and to be able to do the things that she wants to do and not deal with the inflammation that she's currently dealing with, right? I would want my future Tara to be spiritually sound and grounded. Like I would want her to have those things. I would want her to be living her days, with great relationships around her, enjoying her life. And so the choices I make today are going to determine what future Tara gets, right? So what is the driving why? Now, it could be health related. It could be, hey, I need to make these choices because if I don't, I'm not going to have the health that I want to be able to do the things that I want to do. I love to walk on the beach. And for those of you who don't know, I deal with some really serious chronic inflammation and health issues that developed after. It was kind of like after I went through the domestic violence with my ex-husband and my daughter's cancer, and everything was kind of calm. He was out of the picture. She was in a remission. Everything was good. It was like my body crashed, and never legit has it ever felt like it fully recovered, but I've never really put a full focus on my health. And that's one of the things this year is to really get refocused on my health, because otherwise I won't be able to walk on the beach when I'm older, right? I won't have the physical ability that to do the things that I want to do. So you may say the thing I want to change about myself is my health. Or I want to lose weight, or, I want to get strong, whatever those things are. But then the question today is the why. What is the driving force behind that? Because for me, it's not just, oh, I want to get rid of inflammation. Like, oh, that's great. That sounds good. But is that really going to be enough to impact my daily choices when I want to eat the chocolate or drink the glass of wine or sit on the couch and not be active? Probably not. But when I think about, I want to be able to walk on the beach. I want to be able to go on that hike. I want to be able to lift up my grandchildren. If it has to do more with changing like a behavior or characteristic about yourself, then who is going to benefit from that? Maybe you say, well, if I show up as this best version of myself and I'm less reactive and I'm more grounded and I'm more spiritually grounded, then my family will benefit, right? I'll be less volatile. I'll be, calmer. Like who's going to benefit from those changes? Because we need to figure out the why that makes it worth it to make the change. Where a lot of us struggle with making changes or stepping into the best version of ourselves is that it's easier not to. And as humans, we are just naturally wired to move away from pain and move into pleasure. And quite openly, it's more pleasurable to sit on the couch, to eat chocolate, to drink wine, to do those things, right? It's more pleasurable to avoid things that are uncomfortable or out of our comfort zone. It's more pleasurable to kind of fall back into our comfortable habits than to have to do something new, than to have to change how we're showing up. And so we have to have a why. There has to be a driving force behind it that makes that driving force bigger than the comfort. That driving force has to be bigger than that comfort. There's a quote that I really love, and it took me a long time to really get it, this quote. I would hear it all the time, but it didn't really click for me until one day it did. And then I was like, I get it. Okay. This is the quote. It says, the pain, you will stay the same. So you will stay the same until the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Changing can be painful. It can be uncomfortable, right? It's like any time we do something new, right? Think of it as like a new exercise. The first time we do it, it's a little uncomfortable. It doesn't feel normal. Think about if you were learning to dance and you were learning a new dance step, it wouldn't feel normal. It's kind of like that idea, cross your hands like this. Now go ahead and just cross them the other way. It just feels a little off for me. Like, that's not how I cross my hands. I cross my hands this way. I always cross my hands this way. This is what feels normal. So it's not that it's really hard. It just doesn't feel the same. It feels unnatural. It's not something that I would normally do this way. It just feels a little off, right? So I'm going to gravitate towards, if you say cross my hands, I'm going to cross my hands the way that I always do. Right? And so that is just how we are naturally wired. We are naturally wired to do the things that we always do. We often think that we are making choices. Science tells us we actually don't make that many choices during the day. Almost everything that we do is a repetitive habit that we have created in order to get through life. And it really has to do with a survival instinct that if I had to think about all day long all of the things that I had to do, I wouldn't be able to survive. I would be overwhelmed. I also would then not be able to be aware if there was a threat or a danger around me. And so if much of what I do is just habit and just routine and just pattern, that opens me up to be aware if there's a threat, if, being able to take care of myself. So this is very obvious with how do you get up in the morning? Most of us get up on the same side of the bed every day. We do the same routine. We take the same trip into the bathroom. We get ready the same way. Maybe we brush our face first or we wash our face first, or vice versa, or we hop in the shower and then we brush our teeth. Like we all have our routines, and much of our life is routine. And so what we're trying to do is for 2025, break these routines, break these habits, the ones that don't serve us, that don't show up as the best version of us, so that we can start to put in new ones that are more aligned with what we want. I don't want to say better, they're just more aligned with what we want. And what I want and what you want and what she wants may be very different. So this is important that we leave judgment out of it. It's not good or bad. It's just aligned closer to your desires, your goals, your dreams, right? So what is the driving force? So I would love for you to put this in the comments or email me. What is the driving force? If you're in the Hey Girl You Can community, go head over to our private Facebook group, drop that in there. We want to hear from you. What is the driving force behind the why? Okay, the why you want to change. Without this important question answered, and this is why it's 20 important questions, right? Then when things get tough, when things become difficult, when you have that bad day, it's going to be more difficult to keep ourselves focused and to keep moving towards in the direction that we want. It will be easier to fall back into those habits that didn't serve us. But if I can remember the why, and it's kind of like this idea that, we have this idea that we do things because we want them. Well, how many of us, if you've ever had a kid, right? I mean, do you really like changing a dirty diaper? Does anybody really like changing a dirty diaper? No. But there's a why. The why do we do that? Well, we do it because we want a clean, healthy baby, right? We want a clean, healthy child. And that why is bigger than the, ugh, I don't really want to do that, right? And I think this happens, myself included, a lot of us with our health. Jack keeps telling me, sit up straight, sit up straight. I've been like hunched over my desk all the time. Well, now I threw out my back for the first time. It is horrific. Those of you who have back issues, I apologize for ever not taking you as seriously as I should have. It is the most intense pain. And now I'm in physical therapy and they're trying to find a stomach muscle that I'm like, I don't even know if there's one there. And they're like, we promise there is, but this is a result of poor posture. I mean, there's been other reasons. I had an injury that caused that back become a secondary injury. However, I probably wouldn't have thrown out my back so bad from the first injury if I had had better posture, right? If I had been taking care of myself, then I probably wouldn't have ended up with this secondary back issue. And now it's kind of like, okay, now you have to fix it. So that's where a lot of times we don't make changes until that pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Now it is more painful to continue these bad postures, to this inactive lifestyle that is causing me physically more pain, right? Like legit more pain than the pain of changing, of having to go to the gym, of doing these physical therapy exercises, of getting up every, 30 minutes or an hour and walk around so I'm not so sedentary. Like that pain is actually less than the pain of what I was doing. Where before the pain of what I was doing was actually not very painful. My back wasn't out and it was just easier just to sit there and to not be active. So again, what's the driving force? What's the why? And some ways to think about this. If you're not sure, think about who else will be impacted by you making these changes or these improvements. Often we will do things for the people that we care about before we will do the things for ourselves. If you're a parent, you probably know this very well. You will do more for your children than you will for you. We will do more for our spouse or for the approval of our parents. We can get into whether or not that's good or not, but we will also do things more for other people than we will for us. And that's why that technique of picturing the future you and loving the future you as much as you love those other people in your life can sometimes be the driving force to doing the things that we don't want to do. And it is biblical. I don't know where it says it in the Bible, but Paul says in the Bible where he says, I know the right thing to do. Why do I do the thing that I don't want to do? Why do I do that thing? So, guys, I really believe this is a spiritual issue of why we do the things that we don't serve us, that we don't necessarily want to do, but they become habits and they become patterns and they become easy. And here's the good thing, you can do hard things. And we're going to do this together this 2025. We're going to show up together every day. We're going to ask ourselves the tough questions, and we're going to start to pivot and shift into the direction that will lead us into the 2025 that you want. So a couple things as we close up. I will be here tomorrow. We will answer question number 3. Again, if you're in the Hey Girl You Can community, and for those of you guys who don't know what this is our community where we come together as women to grow ourselves and grow our business. You guys have a private Facebook group. You want to head over to your private Facebook group, share your answers to the questions in here. If you are interested in finding out more about Hey Girl You Can, it is a super, super cheap one day, just miss one day at Starbucks and you can cover your membership all month long. It is a founding rate. So when you get in at the rate that it is. So right now it's $8 a month. When you're watching this video, I don't know when that will be, but right now it's only $8 a month. And so you get grandfathered into that rate forever. You get events, you get a resource library, you get a private Facebook group, you get coaching with me, you get a lot of stuff for that. So you can head over and check that out at heygirlyoucan.com. The other thing, if you're really wanting to do a deeper dive, if you're really wanting to immerse yourself into a transformation for 2025, the Total Transformation Day, I only do this a couple of times a year, is coming up in January. And it's for those who want to kickstart their year. It is an immersive day with me. It is held on Zoom. We do a full day together. We break for lunch. It is a very limited amount of people. Because of the immersive nature of this, you get a workbook and we really dive deep into who you are, why you're wired the way that you are, what do you want in your life, and how, knowing all of that, do we make those shifts. So the whole idea is to reclaim your life. We go through 4 different sessions, like RECLA, and each step is about reclaiming your life, saying, I'm no longer in a place where I'm just going to let life happen to me and I'm just going to be like the breeze that goes along with it, but I'm going to reclaim my life. I'm going to step back into my power, and I'm truly going to have, this is going to be the year that things change for me. This is the year where I show up and have different results. And so we work all day so that you don't have to do a course. You don't have to do it over a couple of weeks. You don't have to work, sometimes the courses, we have the best intentions, but life just gets busy, right? And so we're like, okay, I'm going to do this transformation course. And, but I've got to watch all these sessions, and I've been guilty of this. I start it and then I don't finish it. So the idea behind this is you just take your one day, you block your one day off in the calendar. It's a Saturday, you show up and bam, we just power through this one day for transformation changes. For a truly plan book, you'll have action steps. You'll be ready to hit the ground the next day with exactly what you need to do. And you can go and find about that. I will drop it in the comments, but you can also learn about that on my website, Tara G Online. If you click on how to work with me, you'll see Total Transformation Day. All right. So grab your free 20 questions. All right. So grab your free 20 questions. Let's dive through this. Guys, this little work will make massive impact in your year. If you just float into the new year, or you just say, well, these are my resolutions and this is what I'm going to have. Studies show, research shows in 6 to 8 weeks, you'll be in the same spot. Nothing will have changed. And so we are doing this because I truly believe you were here to make an impact. You were here for significance. There is a purpose, and that you have a gift to give the world. And I don't want 2025 for me or for you to just go by and be in the same place. I want you to have massive growth as you step into the beautiful, important person that God created you to be, because you're here to make a difference. So we're going to hold hands, get this done together, and in 20 days, make some transformation. All right. So happy New Year's Eve, everybody. I can't wait to hear about what you're doing, and I'll see you tomorrow in 2025. Bye, everybody.